That was closer than last week.
Well, close is good in horseshoes, hand grenades, and Arizona State.
Amen.
Because if you're not going to wear a mask, it's official. We are going to just start dispatching people on site these days because it's a hate crime to not wear a mask in this state, as far as I'm concerned.
Did you see that dumb, so stupid thing that like Karens think that using the term Karens is like hate speech?
They want to make it like a derogatory term for white females. Yeah.
And I don't think that they realized how much they're hitting it on the nose. That the most Karen thing you could do being a Karen is to be like, it offends me when you call me by my name.
It's so good. It's so good. I love it so much.
I have given up on humanity so many times over that, I mean, we're just in the negative numbers now.
From March to here, it's a miracle that we're even still talking out loud.
It's been a quarter of a year of this stuff going on, and you don't think about that until you throw it into perspective on a timeline.
There was and I'll butcher it, and I'm not going to look it up because I prepared last week. I'm not going to prepare this week. There was the quote for a amusement park in China where that's opened now, and they're like, hey, on the roller coaster, please try not to, scream, open your mouth and, let out all the, the air particles and whatnot. And they recommended that if you have the urge to scream, just to try and scream on the inside. And everyone's like, that is 2020 in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's my favorite. My favorite tweet from this year. I quote it at least once a week at work. Man, I can't believe
it's 11.
No. Man, I can't believe it's been 6 years since January.
Yeah. Oh god, that hurts because it's so true.
I thought the posted sign was actually saying, "Please don't touch the tentacles unless they touch you first."
That is also fair.
I like where that's going.
So, Michael, before we started rolling, you were talking about the people that you've hidden in your Wayfair cabinets.
Is this Criminal UK?
Oh my goodness!
An episode?
What's
going on?
If you're gonna bring up, some hot takes on,
conspiracies,
stuff going on, maybe you should explain it a little bit. Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna explain anything. I'm just gonna pepper that in for the people that are gonna roll their eyes when they hear it, because we're probably, with how 2020 is going, we're probably about 2 weeks away from them being like, "Yep, that's 100% real."
Fair enough.
Wayfair Gate. Hashtag it now.
Oh my goodness. You heard it here first, folks. Hashtag Wayfairgate. Please tell me you're not actually tweeting that right now, John.
No, I'm on Jurassic Park updates because I felt like you guys needed some levity.
I like that.
I just decided to scroll down real quick because it's still my favorite Twitter account.
Why don't you read a couple? Why not?
Let's see.
Well, first, before you get
there.
Yeah. By the eternal, behold. It is the Disinformed podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm John.
And I'm Michael.
And these are tweets.
Just remembered another kind of dinosaur. Pterodactyl. Not a good place to start. Let's see.
Story of your life.
That?
The dinosaurs have unionized. The T-Rex is looking at his reflection in the lake and practicing how to ask out the Stegosaurus.
The smoking raptor would really prefer if you stop calling it Karen. It knows what that means, and it's offended.
We're actually not sure on the ratio of our God-made dinosaurs to lab-made dinosaurs. We kinda don't give a fuck. Let's see if I can't find one good one we can move on from. Oh. Shit, the dinosaurs are asking for a Bill of Rights.
The occupancy limit on the raptor cage is serious. We have posted it 4 times. Please stop violating it.
Can you imagine how much fun you'd have to have, because it is a team of probably 5 or 6 people. I just want to live inside of their group chat.
You just want to live.
What?
I just want to live.
Well, we were meant to live for so much more, but we lost ourselves.
I like that I did the My Immortal callback here to keep on brand, and you throw out random.
Say it.
No, I don't know. I don't know what that song is. I have never heard that band before. I have no idea what that is.
Totally was like, oh man, that's a Skillet song.
Plausible deniability.
Well, I had to message Shane in a frenzy yesterday morning because I decided I had a weird hair to listen to a band that I hadn't listened to in a long time, and I was going to listen to it ironically, and then I fell back in love. And I can go ahead and say that, yeah, I guess. The first Coldplay album is a goddamned masterpiece, and I feel very sorry for anybody who doesn't enjoy it because they don't like good things.
Variety, as they say, is the spice of life. So much like, the variety pack of cereal, you can enjoy different things. You do not have to eat Frosted Flakes every day of the goddamn week, Karen.
What?
Do you know what I started the day off listening to, though? And then got to Coldplay somehow?
Papa Roach?
Well, not so... Yes, actually. I tear myself open. No, Regina Spektor. I listened to the Begin to Hope album.
It's pronounced Regina.
Sorry.
She's named after Saskatchewan.
Sorry. Regina Spektor's Begin to Hope, which also a lot better than I remembered it. So Michael, you're moving in 2 days from now.
Yes, that's an accurate statement. I don't know why it needs to be said here, but
I thought you were commenting on his Parkinson's is what I thought you were pointing out. But
yeah, you're moving on in 2 days.
I'm moving on.
Brave.
I thought you were just saying I'm moving. I'm like, I mean, I'm moving all the time because it's Parkinson's, but that's neither here nor there.
As a DC character, vibe, go.
Someone hand him some Parmesan. Would
you like some cheese on your salad?
Yes. Tell me when to stop. I can't.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I was thinking earlier today about like some of the silliest shit that I'd ever done, like relationship wise.
Oh.
And this is not related to you and your experience, but every time that I move from a place, you kind of have that like reflective period of like, what have I done in this apartment, or what have I done in this house?
Crime scene investigation unit, basically.
Yeah, so Michael, do you, and we can come back to you if you want to rack your brain real quick, but what's the dumbest thing that you've done in the house that you're leaving in 2 days?
I think I've mentioned the story where I puked in the bathtub.
Mm.
Oh my
gosh. I was interrupted mid-sex twice. Just the stories that I've told, actually. Those are pretty much my most embarrassing times.
And for our constant listeners, tip of the hat, does the pugilistic panda go with you, or does it stay?
I mentioned all the way at the beginning that whichever episode that was, past or future me isn't going to link it in the show notes. I don't care.
No.
It's not your panda.
Yes, it's not. I mentioned at the get-go that it was here when I showed up, and it'll be here when I leave.
And that makes you a sad panda.
Yeah, I kind of do.
Don't you have squatters' rights? All puns intended. It's in the bathroom. Just take it with you and put it in your new bathroom.
Well, technically, because there was no actual agreement to me living here, he can claim property over everything I own here. And just like, well, he left it here. Was he actually living here? There's no record of it. Yeah, he paid me some money every month, but
that was for drugs.
Yeah.
Y'all are flimsy with your contracts. You need to get up on that game. I had a contract when I moved in with Becky. Like, I actually had her write up a lease agreement.
Oh, I was going to say, the other was a prenup, so...
Zing.
No, I had her write up an actual, like, lease agreement, because I was like, I'm not worried about you fucking me over, I'm not worried about fucking you over, but I also know that, like, this is a different kind of environment or different situations. This isn't an apartment or me renting my own house or us renting a house together. Like, you should have protection. She'd gotten burned from a roommate prior to me moving in. I was like, if you would have had something on paper, you could have gotten like a full month rent out of that woman before she, just decided that she was going to go somewhere else. But the silliest thing, I don't know why it crept into my brain. I wanted to break up with an ex, and I was living with her in an apartment at the time. And for some reason, I was doing the game where you try to get them to break up with you.
Okay.
Because you're a pussy and you can't just pull the trigger, even though you have every right to.
I've been the recipient of that, so I know how it feels.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, so like, I think I know exactly who you're talking about too.
Nope, I'm talking about my first ex.
Oh, never mind.
It took about 3 years later. I finally just said, okay, I'm good.
Mid pump, you're just like, just doesn't hit like it used to.
No, she called me to break up with me the day I moved into my dorm sophomore year, and I'm like, okay, cool. That was it. Instead of me actually
3
fighting
years,
for
huh?
it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, John's closest correlative to that is he was mid pumping someone else and called his girlfriend to break up.
Yikes! No.
Oof.
But so the lease was coming up, and we had the conversation, and it was more of a fight, like what was happening every single week in that apartment. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to renew the lease. I think I really just need to figure out my own shit and move back in with my parents. And that's where a sane person would be like, the reason is because I don't want to live with you. We probably should break up.
Uh-oh.
But no, we lived a half a mile, like our houses, like our parents' houses were a half a mile apart. So we just moved back in with our respective parents, and I thought she would have broken up with me over it, and she didn't. So like a coward, I just kind of like let this thing like play out. And I remember because I'd still go, like, she wasn't going to come over to my house. I wasn't, God, I'm such a piece of shit. I wasn't going to let her come over to my house, but I'd go over to her house and we'd still hang out. Like, we'd watch movies, we'd fuck, we'd watch some movies, we might have sex. But her living arrangement at this place was very Arizonan. Like, as far as how the house was structured, like, you don't see this shit elsewhere. At least I wasn't accustomed to it, but there was an apartment that was above. It was like a 2-story house, but the second story was like a half story. Kind of. So you know how like people can have half basements? It was like that, but on top. So it was like,
I'm from Arizona. We don't have basements here.
But anyway, so there was a second story. Okay. There was a second story, but it was like half of what the downstairs was, and they were trying to renovate it into like almost like a studio apartment kind of situation.
Okay.
But there was no door. And she had like a really open family that wouldn't knock or do anything. So every time that we were smushing in this house felt like a gamble. But for some reason it hit back into my head today, and I can't believe that I let things go on so fucking long. I just can't. Sorry that you guys have to be the unwilling
Suddenly,
recipients.
This podcast makes so much more sense to me right now.
Well, it didn't fall off, so I might as well just keep going for it.
Oh, man. Hey, I'm confident she doesn't listen to this, so hey, Ashley, I'm sorry, bro. That was pretty shitty, but also you shouldn't have punched me, so.
It all started when she punched me that
Listen,
one day.
I mean, she just moved her hand awkwardly and your nose was in the way, John. That's the way
It's always in the way.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So now that I'm done with my free therapy session, how's everyone else doing?
Good lord.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that alone on my end.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I did a good thing by talking.
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a piece of follow-up though, for Shane.
Oh, shit.
No, it's nothing bad. I mentioned I think it was last week. I mentioned at the end of last week's episode that I was starting listening to a podcast called Behind the Bastards.
Yeah.
Yes, so I finished the Behind the Police like mini-series, and then I started listening. I downloaded a bunch of their other normal episodes, and the one I'm listening to is a series on John McAfee, the guy that created the antivirus software. He was like a crazy tech
John's
dude.
never seen the antivirus software. So
Oh yeah, he is the antivirus.
It hasn't fallen off his computer yet, so it's safe.
Damn it, I was gonna get to that.
I'm the Shane's claimed to be him before, but I'm actually that kid from Rant, Buster Casey.
He just hopes that every virus he infects on his computer somehow strengthens it so that it can't die.
What doesn't kill it makes it
I mean,
stronger.
he is still talking to us
Actually-
on that laptop as we speak, so I guess there's credence
What
here.
doesn't kill it makes my parents buy a third desktop that I'm probably. Come on, we've all killed a very sturdy computer from viciously downloading porn, right?
You download porn? What is this, the early 2000s?
No,
Yes.
if you want to, you could be me who didn't have internet for a while and so had to download porn in order to gain access to it if I
That's
wasn't using my phone
different.
for a bit. So
That
yeah,
is
it
different
happens.
though, because that is a limitation.
It's creating
you
a
impose upon
cache.
yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. That is different.
I feel the longer that my thoughts get published, and Shane, I know you feel me on this one, the more that my thoughts get published, the more I wonder if I'm actually a serial killer.
Yes, I'm a credible documented serial killer at this point on many, many levels.
Well, okay. So, quick little thing. John McAfee created antiviral software, sold his company, moved to Belize, which is in Central America, created a compound full of a bunch of like people that followed. Sorry, I skipped some steps. He became pretty much a drug addict, junkie, but a rich one that had a bunch of followers, hangers-on. He started an extreme like flying bike club until his nephew died. Then he moved to Belize to avoid allegations with that. Created a compound.
This more sounds like an episode.
Did bath salts. Oh yeah, I can do an episode.
I was gonna say, let me hold up. Flying Bike Club.
It's called like a trike or something like that.
In what strange Jetsons fucking future are you referring to? Where are you going like Satan on us right now and flash forwarding to future events you have no knowledge of but somehow can detail?
I feel like you have to really solidify the hoverboard before you can get to a fucking hovering bike.
No, it's like a glider, but it's part bike, if I recall correctly. Remind me during the After Dark, and I'll...
All right,
I'll
Da Vinci, we'll look this shit up and actually try to make this more credible.
No, Michael, we're not going to look at your weird avant-garde porn on our clean YouTube show that airs every Friday.
It's called Physics.
You'll slip up one day, and you'll be like, yeah, show me the link, and then I'll get you. I'll hook you.
Come on, show me.
Just show me the money.
It can truly be said that the penis... mightier than the sword.
But to get back to the point,
please.
The episodes are very interesting, and I do recommend the show Behind the Bastards, just because, like, I didn't know anything about John McAfee except for that the company that he founded made antivirus software that sucked.
And you and everybody else.
Yes, but he himself, very terrible but interesting character.
I'm intrigued.
So,
or was he terribly interesting?
He ran for president in 2016 under the Libertarian Party.
Well, that makes sense why no one knows him.
Exactly.
And we're going to start a podcast next week called Behind the Backwash. So it's just going to be tales from the bar.
That would actually be quite interesting.
I'm just going to take this mic with me to work and just be like, so you're a fucking moron that's trying to drink during a pandemic? What do you think?
The jackass on the street commentary.
Oh, man.
Yeah, hopefully what I read online today was true. Speaking of, running on the Libertarian Party, hopefully Kanye West has dropped out officially.
As far as I'm aware, he has missed
he missed Florida
and Nevada.
But he submitted in Oklahoma. I read that before we jumped on.
No, if I recall correctly, he submitted to he registered to vote in Oklahoma. If I recall.
Well,
fuck it. Now I got to give myself homework. Past me is future me will look it up.
Any small victory, the moment that you're like, nope, it's not going to be any party. We're just going to call it the birthday party because if we win, it's your birthday. We're going to celebrate like it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Is he actually trying to run with Kim as the VP?
No, he was going to run with who's the fucking asshole from the mega church?
Joel
Orstein? Yeah. There was rumors that was going to be his running mate.
Jesus. Literally.
Exactly.
Good Lord.
This is why I stay under a rock, ladies and germaphobes, and I cannot recommend it more highly.
And I say this every time that this gets brought up, but I am legitimately close behind you on that one.
Well, you'd lose all of your ability to troll, though, John. You basically just have to make snide comments to yourself and chuckle at your own expense.
What a loser.
I wish they could have... Instead of clipping what you said, I wish I could have clipped the actual video of you doing it. Michael, what the fuck are we talking about today?
So, speaking of stupid people,
Oh.
Because this is actually a complete mystery to you guys, and I'm quite proud of it.
Should I clarify what we do here first?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, for those of you who are uninitiated, and from what I understand, we still get some of those every week, which is why we actually have people downloading this podcast in Belize right now.
Ooh-wee!
Please don't ever do that again.
Yeah, you're gonna lose us our tens of listeners.
You do that and you'll clean it up.
Oh, shucks.
So what we typically do here, week by week these days, again, is that we try to present an obscure or esoteric topic to the general public, and over the course of explaining said topic, we will, on occasion, lie about it. And so the presenter is then trying to sneak by mistruths to the co-hosts of the podcast, and it is then the co-host's job to try to identify those lies as the story unfolds. And there are no points for guessing the lies. It is mostly bragging rights and the ability to say that parts of your anatomy are going to stay attached for one more week. And with that, Michael.
It's a living.
So today we're going to take a step back, do the time warp to the pandemic of last century. I almost said millennium. I almost said decade. Last century, the Spanish flu, and
That's
talk
racist.
about the Anti-Mask League of San Francisco.
All right, then.
Oh, look. They're...
Sorry, what was that, John?
Sorry, yeah. I was choking on myself.
Your own. Anyway, so let's talk about the 1918 influenza pandemic, often called the Spanish flu because it started in a region known as Toledo, Spain.
I thought you were going to initially refer to the Keene Act from Watchmen, where they didn't want vigilantes anymore. But, anti-mask in another direction here. Go.
Oh, okay. I don't understand the reference and I will ignore it. It infected more than 25 million people in America, killing some 675,000 of them.
That's rookie numbers. You gotta up those numbers.
For a rate of about, because I wanted to do some math to make it a little easier for us to conceptualize it, about 2.7% of the people infected died. Okay, on its way to wiping out nearly 50 million people worldwide. The flu spread in 4 waves throughout 1918 and 1919. The first came in 1918 and was thought by many to be just another seasonal flu.
This is getting very spooky already, and I'm just gonna go
you
ahead.
have no idea. There's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities.
You needed to hit me with a trigger warning, and I would have eaten edibles so that I don't have a fucking panic attack. Continue.
The second wave was referred to as the British New Wave and featured hits from the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Mike's mom's band.
She never got off the ground.
She
She helped other people, though. She helped other people get up, but not herself. So let's see. As of the writing of this actual episode, not the recording, so yesterday morning, the 17th of July, there are 3.3 million cases of the current pandemic, with 135,000 deaths. That is about a 4% fatality. With this percentage, yes. So definitely not like the flu. With this percentage, there would have been 1 million deaths from the Spanish flu, just for context, as opposed to that. And keep in mind, this is 100 years ago, and a lot of the same similarities. There wasn't a vaccine at the time for this particular strain, yada, yada, yada. Don't want to get too much into that. So, for both pandemics, one of the hardest hit places in the U.S. was San Francisco. Initially, city leaders cracked down hard on the, pretty much what they were doing for other places as well, like New York, today, in today's time. And San Francisco was one of the first cities to implement strict orders to shut down the city. Schools and churches were closed and large gatherings were banned. Social distancing was mandated, as were hygiene measures.
Excuse me?
As in, probably like you
Hygiene.
can't just you can't just throw your shit around.
Hygiene?
I should have looked more into that, but the couple of papers that I read, one of which from the San Francisco Chronicle, which actually documented what was going on at the time because they were an actual newspaper when this happened. But everything else, sound familiar?
I think he was referring to your emphasis being on the wrong syllable
Hygiene.
there.
Yeah,
Hygiene.
I was.
What did
Also,
I say? Did I say it wrong? I said hygiene.
Hygiene?
You kind of like stumbled on it, which is really just mean of me to pick on you for, but I mean, you are the slowest running kid at the playground at the current moment, so.
Ouch. Oh my goodness. You do one
completely-
fucking episode for the last like 40, and now you're just like on hot shit.
I'm proud of my numbers.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, two things. One, Michael, how many lies are there?
Good question. There are there's only 2 lies actually.
3, if you remember and include.
Birds.
Birds aren't real. Birds are a lie.
Yes.
Fair enough. Added and caught. There you go.
Thank you. Secondarily, I would like to apologize for sounding like I worked on a commercial truck rigging company last week.
It's okay,
this is when you want to bring that up when I'm in the middle of my thing.
Yes.
Yeah, because I forgot earlier.
Uh-huh.
But it's just a quick apology. So if you listened last week, thank you.
Yeah. If it
I know that
sounded
my
like
topic is infinitely more important than anyone's topic, so
Oh.
I'm really upset that you had to listen to a lesser quality because of Michael's editing skills.
Oh!
okay.
Oh!
Shots
Okay
fired.
there, Mister.
I'm kidding, it was all my fault.
CB Radio.
No, John sounded like he was Skyping in from Uranus. So
Yeah,
it's
for
nice.
for listener, because he brought it up, I had to use the audio Zoom or the audio from the Zoom recording, which he used through his phone, because if we used his actual audio, it would have sounded like he was talking through a CB radio that was manufactured probably around the time of this pandemic.
John would have been in all caps for the last episode, basically, is what we're driving at.
It
would have sounded like static.
quite funny to listen back to. Anyway, Michael, thank you. Sorry, love you. Continue.
Hello,
Yeah,
San
that's what
Francisco.
I thought. Actually, this next
Yes.
section I called "Save Me, San Francisco" because I when I was reading this, I couldn't help but think of trains, so I was like, all right, cool, I'll just label it that.
Getting hit by one?
What?
No, running one
get
on
outta
his
here.
mom.
Oh my goodness.
Get him, Dad.
Choo choo.
It's
So
11.
when San Franciscans were first asked to don masks as the Spanish flu of 1918
The Spanish Inquisition. No one expects it.
Woo! Never expect them. While they were asked to don masks, the idea was met with patriotic fervor. Surprisingly, even before the mandatory order was approved by supervisors in late October 1918, the Chronicle reported that 4 out of 5 citizens were already wearing face coverings on the streets.
Bullshit.
True. As
True
in,
that
like,
I'm right?
No, as in, like, no, not bullshit. It is a true statement.
Oh, you mean they told the American public to do something and most
People
of
are
them
already
complied?
doing it beforehand? Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Take
surprisingly.
Me back.
Yeah. Save me, San Francisco.
We're not making that a thing. I will not respond to it the next time you say it.
That's fair.
And Michael is still trying to meet Virginia, by the way.
Is that another train
He
reference?
wants to put some of his drops of Jupiter in her hair.
Okay. That one I know.
Well,
Because
there
that
she
one was on
wants
the
to
radio.
be the queen.
So he doesn't know the good train record. He knows the shit ones that came out. He doesn't
He
know
knows
the
the
best
one-
one.
I know
He
the
knows
popular
the one
ones.
that ends, like the last song on that album is the most pandering, please play me at a wedding song that I've ever fucking heard. And I remember seeing it being like, well, let's see what this is about. Like, maybe it is an earnest song. And I was like, you Hallmark motherfuckers.
Touched by an Angel, season 12 starts with and ends with a train song, and it's bookended perfectly.
Anyway, we're talking about Michael's terrible music taste, present company included.
So, the local Red Cross chairman told a reporter, "A week ago, I laughed at the idea of the mask. I wanted to be independent. I did not realize that the cost of such independence was the lives of others."
Thank you, Yoda.
Yes. Mayor James Rolfe, the Board of Supervisors, and health officials were in lockstep when they ordered mandatory masks in public. At that point, there were 385 deaths in San Francisco related to the pandemic. A number that would increase only tenfold by the end of the pandemic. So we're talking over the course of essentially a year and some change, only 3,800 deaths from San Francisco.
Which is about what we recorded in one day today.
Well,
Arizona.
not deaths, cases. Cases, I think, were a little bit more
Oh,
than that.
okay.
But
My bad. Sorry, I misheard you.
you're fine. You're fine. We're
panic
gonna
mode.
pass that soon enough anyway, because number one, all that fun stuff.
Genus.
Genius indeed. The first few days were filled with bright stories about mask fashion and do-good volunteer groups sewing for the cause. But by the end of the first week, there were signs of defiance. The Chronicle reported on November 2nd, so actually about a little more than a week after the implementation, 175 people were arrested, including some who, quote, were wearing their masks draped over their chins while they were enjoying their morning pipe. Most pleaded ignorance and paid a $5 fine. While most of them did that, there was a vocal mask opposition that was growing. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of individual cases because they were just really interesting to me. So a John Raggy was arrested on Columbus Avenue. He said he did not wear a mask because he did not believe in masks or ordinances or even jail. The Chronicle reported, he now has no occasion to disbelieve in jails. He is in the city prison.
He's like, honestly, it's a miracle that I'm even walking around because I don't believe in the ground. I don't believe in the shoes on my feet. Cluck, cluck, cluck.
Also, birds ain't real.
I'll tell you what.
And they're putting chemicals in the water. I tell you, it's making them dolphins gay.
I'm telling you, this Florentine doesn't do nothing for my teeth. They still falling out.
I don't even know why you're still talking to me. You are just a ghost.
Now listen, I'm going to return to panning for my gold here in the middle of the street, so you leave me be.
You guys, it reminds me of, do we talk about the character in Mr. Deeds that Steve Buscemi plays?
With a weird eye?
Yeah, crazy eye guys. He's like, why are you in jail right now? He's like, oh, because the mailman tried to put a spell on me. He's like, oh, could have just been waving. Sorry, that's what John Raggy reminds me of.
That is fair. It's a good description. Mask-related defiance became violent. A Chronicle story headlined 3 shot in struggle with mask slacker, which is
Wait,
the
what?
title that mask slacker. That was the title given to people that did not wear a mask, which I think we should bring back. Hashtag mask slacker.
I like
the
dick
story.
nose.
Dick nose?
Yeah, the people that wear it over their mouth but not their nose have been referred to now as dick noses.
Dick nose
like that.
dorks.
Yeah, because
like that a
they
lot.
show the infographic like wearing your mask like this is like wearing your pants like this. It's just someone with their fucking dick hanging out of their pants. Anyway.
Yeah, I like that. It gave a detailed account of a health department inspector confronting a maskless blacksmith who was on a street corner telling the crowd they are bunk. At the door of the store, the blacksmith struck the health inspector with a sack containing a large number of silver dollars, then knocked him to the ground.
He smacked him with a sack? A sack smack?
Of silver dollars.
He hit him with a happy slapper?
But first he said, "Yo, bunk!"
Ya bunk! The mask's a bunk and ya bunk too! I don't know what accent
I
that was.
moved over here from New Jersey. Saying for
Yo,
life. Yo, bunk!
The Chronicle reported, while being pummeled, the health inspector drew his revolver and 4 shots rang out.
Since when were health inspectors issued ordinance? I have no idea why they're shooting people as a health inspector.
It is not bullshit.
I'm just marveling at the fact that you feel like what? So if you noticed some rat turds in the restaurant, you're like, all right, this is punishable by death.
But also,
well, I mean, he was
a scene because this is 1918 or 1919.
Mm-hmm.
So things aren't completely paved at this point, right? It's still maybe like a little cobbly or something. Like it's not like it's not even close to what we would look at today. And
well, it is. Everything's being pushed by horses. And everything is cobblestone because this is the 1700s. No, it's fairly well developed. I mean, there are cars and everything like that. I believe the Model T already came out at around this time. If not, it's only a couple more years before it does.
But it's like things are transitioning towards that, but there's still semblance of...
Fair.
It would be more agrarian than what you would consider, today's society to look like. But I mean, if you look, there's pictures from Phoenix in the 1890s. There were paved roads.
Yeah.
So you'd see it.
I will also say that, because I double checked this mainly for proportion numbers and everything like that. The population of San Francisco was about 400,000 around the 1906 earthquake. So it probably was not too much more than that, about 10-ish years later. So we're looking, because I also did more comparisons there. It's about half the population of what it is today.
All right. So, but the parallel you're trying to draw, John, to the health staff,
Just
carrying
how
weapons.
comical it would look to a passerby, probably, or just if you saw.
I mean, the crowd
clipping,
that was watching him yelling that, "Hey, they bunk!"
Yeah, just mentally seeing a sack filled with coin being like just beating the piss out of him with a maskless blacksmith, which sounds like a really bad thrash metal band
Or a South Park character.
Yeah, anyway, we digress as always.
Let's see.
The incredibly maskless blacksmith.
No, I'm the incredibly blacksmith maskless.
No one died, thankfully, but 2 bystanders were hit. Both men were arrested.
By the gun or by the sack?
The giant sack of silver dollars, it just went everywhere, man.
I was blessed with the sack.
I mean, if you weren't afraid of the Spanish Inquisition before, the happy slapper with the sack is going to make sure that you're definitely afraid of it now.
And while he's pummeling you, he's just going to keep yelling, "They're bunk! They're bunk, I tells ya!"
No, he yells, "Don't go changing just to please me."
Later in the year, a small bomb was found addressed to Dr. William C. Hassler, a sort of Dr. Fauci type figure during the pandemic. John, just because I assume you don't know who Fauci is, he's the head of
please. This isn't you in pop culture, okay?
He makes them special jeans, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the guy who looks at my wang when it feels funny, right? My little peener.
Well,
it's not Logan.
Yeah.
Considering it's probably infectious, yes, I would say. No one else can figure out. They got to get the head of infectious medicine in order to look at it or whatever.
Were you trying to get Michael's attention since you said peener?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
I was
Just wanted
ignoring
to
that.
Get his name out there for Peener Greer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peener ratio.
So the small bomb was filled with glass and buckshot, and it came with a note that said "Compliments of John."
So I should take notes. This is how you get people's attention.
Yes.
This
Compliments
was
of John.
the 18th or the 19th century 18th century trolling. No, it was the 19th century. 20th century.
So
Michael said
because
17th earlier.
41st century.
Fox.
That was a
Anyway.
Doors reference. Well done. I'm very pleased with you. Moving on, Michael. I'm sorry.
The next section I called was because apparently I was feeling like literary there and back again.
Ooh, the Nestle section.
Yes. Victory was declared over the virus in late November.
Victory.
So they only had this mask ordinance for 1 month.
Pussies.
Which, I mean, considering that we're a couple of days from our you cities figure it out mask ordinance.
Don't be sheep.
When the
don't be sheep. Bless.
Hashtag 2A.
When the influenza returned in January, foreshadow, protests became more organized by the new anti-mask league, which was advertised in newspapers and rented spaces that could seat thousands.
Their acronym is NAML.
No, it's not.
Which is what they did to each other's family. Like, it was just an incestuous family, so they're just nibbling on each other's bits. So it makes sense that it would be
No. It wasn't. N wasn't part of it. New wasn't part of it. It was just the anti-mask league.
Oh.
It just appeared. It
I
was
want,
a new thing.
I want the Denver Amel. Extra ham.
That's probably
I like
how
the
those
Southwest
people pronounce
Amel.
things, too.
Yeah. The Chronicle reported that the first meeting drew 2,000 spectators. The league chairwoman, interestingly enough, was a Emma Harrington, who was an attorney, an activist, and the first woman to vote in San Francisco in 1911. Yes. So we're going to go back a decade for a reference here. There was a Tea Party-like fervor to the League and their central argument. When the virus, so essentially they were all about personal liberties. So kind of what we're dealing with now. When the virus returned, city leaders had capitulated to business. I almost said virus leaders. That's actually quite funny. I was so happy about capitulated that
You got too self-congratulatory and you fucked it up.
Yep.
You broke your arm.
You took your eye.
Yourself off.
Yeah.
Don't take your eyes off the prize, Michael.
City leaders had capitulated to business leaders, refusing to close churches and theaters as they did in the fall, effectively protecting corporate interests while still forcing common citizens to don masks.
That you made it through that sentence without stumbling, I will applaud. Just, hands down right now.
And also, this is near the advent of the talkies, so it was even a bigger deal for them to close the theaters, because that was a big time to be invested in cinema and film.
I can't eat those; they're too spicy.
Talkies?
Yeah, the rolled corn chips scare me. Anything
my
dick-shaped, I can't put in my mouth.
For fear of immense enjoyment.
Yes, I'm afraid if I go over that particular ledge, I'll never crawl back up again.
At the same time, and this is actually kind of funny as well, at the same time, well, not funny, but just almost ironic considering how similar it is. At the same time, the League offered mostly personal attacks, not practical alternatives. Topping its list of allies was a disgraced former San Franciscan mayor who was convicted of extortion and jailed after the 1906 earthquake and fire. So essentially, the League was just they were just insulting people, just saying, you fucking sheep, and not actually saying anything else. They were probably just saying that the virus was a hoax. The flu was the hoax,
Wrong kid died in the earthquake, if you ask me. Should have been you. By the way, it looks like a little heavier than you used to be. Is it because you caught the virus?
Ouch. So an anti-mask League meeting in January 25th, 1919 drew 4,500 members. And they soon found a sympathetic ear in a member of the Board of Supervisors for the city and county of San Francisco. He declared that the masks were a, quote, infringement of our personal liberty, and that it was not in keeping with the spirit of a truly democratic people to compel people to wear the mask who do not believe in its efficacy, but rather that it is a menace to their health. So essentially, he was repeating what people are saying now about, well, I don't have to wear the mask because it's my liberty to not do so. And you should respect that.
Can I share a quick aside, tangentially related?
Most certainly.
So I'm going to preface this by saying...
If you're prefacing, I'm opening another beer.
Nice. That you all know that I'm a monster, and Shane knows particularly well that my lane of humor sometimes dips a little far to the dark side.
Indeed.
Just a tad.
To quote Lady Gaga, that boy is a monster.
There is a very small lane of... I can't call them memes because that would be insensitive, and I'm trying to say that I'm not bringing this up to be insensitive, but irony is irony, and whether that tickles your funny bone or not is your business. It is, they call it a photo or a story in 3 screenshots.
All right.
And essentially it is truthers, for their social medias. The first panel will be
I think I know where this is going.
First panel will be well, this COVID thing is just a big old myth. I've been banging strippers raw, dog, since blah, 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 and I've never caught a single thing. And then the second slide will be a week or two later, it'll be man, this COVID thing is no joke. I can hardly breathe just laying here. And then the third one is in remembrance of and their name.
Yeah,
so,
I have seen that.
Again, not trying to be insensitive, but you play stupid games and you win very stupid prizes. And the irony is not lost on me.
Well, in the same way that I also delighted earlier this week in the fact that Hugh Downs died in 2020. Which, for those of you who are younger than I...
Yes, sorry.
Hugh Downs and Barbara Walters were the co-hosts of the popular weekly news show 2020 that aired on ABC for years and years.
Yeah, so you kind of get it,
So
too,
for my generation, yes, when I looked at the news article, I turned to Melissa and I said, Hugh Downs died in 2020.
And you both probably had a small chuckle amongst yourselves. By the way, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
very
celebrating
yeah.
it with you ass clowns, so it's well spent.
I'm so sorry.
So,
We are the
Michael,
lube.
was the quote a lie?
No, it was not.
That is not a contemporary quote that you flew back. So that was given at the time. All right.
Verbatim quote. Yes.
History repeats itself, as they say on a spin cycle.
Yeah, that's where my tangent came from, because it would make me so happy. I think it would be justice if some listener did not believe in wearing masks, and like they're like, oh, well, finally, like I'm sick with COVID, I'm laying in a hospital bed, and I have time to listen to podcasts and new things, and they get to this episode, and they get to 47 minutes in, and I can be like, you are a fucking moron, and you deserved everything that you got. Anyway.
Oh, that's funny. So we're gonna actually deviate a little bit from history. So this last section is called A Hopeful Ending. San Francisco mayor, I don't know the exact grammar. I'm not
It's not a
I didn't major
race,
in
so
English.
You've been a good boy today, Michael. You can say whichever one you want.
Yes.
San Franciscan mayor James Rolfe made no concessions to these demands. He said, "Do you think I'm going to stultify," which I had to look up that word. It means to prove to be of unsound mind and hence not responsible. So, with that in mind, do you think I'm going to stultify myself here against the wishes of 99.5% of the doctors, against the officials of the Army and the Navy? The people felt a great relief when the masking ordinance was in effect. We should give our minds to serious matters instead of fighting the little inconvenience occasioned by the wearing of a mask for the protection of the general public.
My man.
And I'll just say that is not bullshit. He said that.
Bless him. If only we had someone who was that sound and articulate in a leadership position within this country at this moment.
Or, fuck me, even the state.
I mean,
did you hear a couple of days ago, Trump retweeted a tweet from an old game show host that Shane might actually know.
Walter
I don't know
Brimley?
if John will. No,
well,
Chuck Woolery.
I'm not 87 goddamn years old, Michael.
Oh, come on.
Yes,
you
I
didn't
do.
see Love Connection? Okay,
yes.
I'm like, I know who Chuck Woolery is. I would assume, considering that his popularity was, he was more popular back in Love Connection, not Lingo.
You're gonna
Is that
learn
the game
me.
show you're thinking? Yeah, but essentially he said, doctors are spreading the coronavirus as a conspiracy. Don't trust doctors at all.
Yeah, this is from Chuck, who spent the entirety of his professional career standing behind a barricade and trying to help someone guess between three people who are also barricaded away from them. Like, blindness is part of his professional nom de tra there, so that was a word I made up. Good luck. I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, let's see here.
Can we also just, take a moment to appreciate how many times we have discussed, and it is still a topic that is open for debate amongst people, that honestly keeps showing, like, I can't share the source that I saw this, but it's someone who I love dearly, posted something saying, like, this guy put on a mask before he drywalled, and this shows how effective the mask is, and he had drywall stuff all over around his nose and things like this, and it's like, the mask isn't effective. I'm going, do we still not understand that the whole point of this, as we've touched on even in the course of this episode, is the mask is not protecting you from the germs. It is keeping the germs inside of you so that they are somewhat you are a moving quarantine zone. It's like you are around touching surfaces, and if you sneeze and cough, then other people will touch those surfaces and can transmit the material to themselves. Is that still something that's not lucid to people yet?
No, that's why people still say it's like part of their personal liberty, that it's their freedom to not wear a mask because they think that it benefits them when it doesn't. Wearing the mask doesn't benefit, it might benefit you slightly, but like it's more like you're a dude, you're wearing a condom to prevent the woman getting pregnant. It's not like you get pregnant if you don't wear the condom.
Yeah,
like, actually, now that I think
silly.
about it, the condom is actually a better analogy than I thought, because it protects the female from it protects the woman from getting pregnant. You're not getting pregnant.
It's my right not to wear a condom. I don't want to be encumbered.
It's my right to nut where I want.
And then there are also the other people that they're like, well, first you say mask on, then you say mask off, then you say mask on. You're just changing your mind, like they don't understand how fucking science works. You know, like well,
Mask
things
on, mask off. Is
well,
this like Karate
things are
Kid
things are constantly changing. You know, like first they think this is effective, then they don't think it's effective. They just got to make up their minds. It's like
That's not how science
yeah,
works.
you fucking hear yourself, Michael.
Bruh.
That was a good pop culture reference that you made.
Yeah, but I think Shane smiled
It
at
got
it. So
it
it's
got
fine.
squished just like grape.
Yeah.
What's eating them?
So, another quote from the president of the San Francisco Board of Health. We cannot in this manner pay attention to any public agitators against the mask for the obvious reason that the question is one of public health and not one of like or dislike of the mask. So essentially, whether or not you give a shit, like, I don't like wearing the mask because it's hard to breathe. My glasses fog up. I can't see through them. But am I not going to wear it? Fuck no, I'm going to wear it. And I'm going to stay away from people that don't. I had to pick up shit from Walmart, like some packing tape and a toaster or something like that for the move. And
that cashier
there were
judged
people...
you hard.
No, I had picked it up, so I didn't actually have to check out with it. I just stood there awkwardly at the money services table while someone else got it for me. But there was at least one dude waiting in line without a mask, and there was a mother and her like 1-year-old child. Both had the masks under their chin, and the mother was coughing. And I'm just staring at that person in stark terror, being like, "You bitch, stay like 30 feet away from me. I don't give a shit. I will literally say no. You need to back the fuck up."
Fuck yeah, 43%
I'm like,
Michael.
I will literally say
no. I will go
no.
100% Michael.
If
anyone comes within like 10 feet of me without a mask in a public space, and I can't back up, I'm gonna say no.
I'll punch
Respect
you right in your
my
pussy.
privacy to get the fuck out of my breathing
I
space.
just like
because I don't trust that you are responsible.
This is the loudest he's ever been, Shane.
Can we also talk about in the realms of escalation? You and I are like, I'll throat punch a motherfucker. I will drag you to your grave by your nostrils. And Michael's like, I will say no. I will forcibly say strongly no.
And I looked
because I don't want to fight them. Because if I have to fight them, I have to get within range. I have to get within breathing distance.
You can kick somebody in the,
I don't want
the taint, from a good, 3 feet away.
That's not.
Shane.
I don't have 6 feet long legs, man.
What you
I
are
can't do that.
failing to remember, Shane, is that his
Birds
hands, that as well. Michael's hands are registered as lethal weapons. So if he does kill someone,
he'll go to prison.
Yeah, if he gets in a fist fight, and he kills that man, it's considered murder.
Hey,
He's
John.
going to prison.
John, if
I am
Michael,
an orange belt
please.
from 20 years ago.
Donnie, if anybody kills anybody, they go to prison, John. It's called manslaughter.
Thank you for indulging me, Shane.
I saw where you were going. I appreciate it. I really do. All right, Kato, let's go
I'm glad
again.
we're so happy. Okay, so here's some numbers to get the ball rolling. Just keep in mind, this morning, for reference, we reported. I wrote it down.
1,000,000.
4,200 cases and 92 deaths in the state of Arizona alone reported today as of this writing, which is the 15th of July, 2020.
And also the number of deaths have surpassed the equivalent number of deaths caused by World War I believe was the factoid I saw floating around today.
Overall.
I thought you were just talking. Okay, I believe so.
Yes.
Yes, that because we joined really late in the World War and all that other junk.
Well, no, they're saying overall, in the entirety of the war, there are more people that have died from COVID than died during that war, is the claim. World War I, not World War II.
Well, yes. But anyway. On January 15th, 1919, the day before masks were reinstated, public health officials reported 510 new influenza cases and 50 deaths. Just that. Mm-hmm. By January 26th, that number was down to 12 cases and 4 deaths. The doctor that I mentioned, the Fauci-like type, Dr. Hassler, lifted the order altogether on February 1st, 1919. Perhaps not coincidentally, the day that the Anti-Mask League imploded at a final meeting. Harrington was voted out as the chair. She protested the new chairwoman's legitimacy, and the meeting ended in literal abrupt darkness.
She doth protest.
The quote, "I rented this hall. and now I'm going to turn off the lights, by a member, William Scott. So literally the guy that rented the hall, when he saw that his chairwoman was voted out, he's like, fuck this, y'all gotta leave, turned off the lights.
Also, what is the point of having a coalition when you have now lifted the requirement to wear masks?
Exactly.
Also, who's to say that Fauci wasn't alive during that time? Because he's old as balls.
Yes.
He has overseen a lot of pandemics.
Probably created a couple, too.
Yeah, I played that.
Just because he was bored.
I played that board game as well. It's entertaining.
Parcheesi?
I love that game. So the funny part about that
what
game,
the fuck
Pandemic,
what? Oh, God. Okay.
the board game Pandemic.
Shane,
so
what have you
I was
done?
playing. It's just a funny, quick little story. Okay, leave me alone. There is a version of the game Pandemic called Pandemic Legacy, which is essentially, it's supposed to have an actual like storyline or plot that takes place over the course of a year. I won't spoil it because it's supposed to be different every time you start it. So like your actions and the affect how later games play out. We had gotten into the month of November when quarantine hit, so we actually haven't finished the game.
You're still playing it as we speak, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. So that was kind of like the.
Do you think it's like
joke.
your metaphorical Jumanji?
We made that joke at the very beginning
Did you
of
really?
lockdown, and then when things started escalating, we stopped. We were like, "This isn't funny."
Okay, well, you fucks need to get back in the room and finish the fucking game so that this nightmare can end.
I was gonna say, once
Okay,
the monkeys start driving the cars and the rhinos are running down the street, we need to stop this thing.
Robin Williams will jump back down from the rope.
If he comes out of that board game, I will be so happy. I'll be like, "You're back!"
Sorry, I listened to that song like
And I'll
3
start
times
crying.
this week, so Robin Williams and the whole thing is in my head. So, I like Robin Williams. Let's continue now that I've made it
Yeah.
way darker than it needed to be.
But no, that was it.
It's a living.
It imploded.
All right.
Yes. So the two
Oh
lies.
my god.
Are there any stabs that you'd like to take?
No, but I would like to go ahead and give you a silent round of applause because you did not make me fall asleep, and I liked your topic a lot.
Yes. When I heard that there
Yes.
was an anti-mask league from 1919, I'm like, I was going to write about some sort of strike that turned into an armed conflict, which I'll probably do next time. And then I was also going to talk about a haunted or a cursed video game, but I'm like, no, stop the presses. I'm doing
We
this.
got to talk
It was
about the
more interesting.
Covidiots. Yeah.
Yes. Covidiots. I like that. I like that a lot.
It is my favorite term currently.
So there is actually, the first lie is, I'm glad neither of you really know like about the Spanish flu, because it's a common misconception. It did not start in Spain
Okay.
at all. That was a lie.
Mhm.
Its origin remains uncertain. There are several places it was thought to have originated from. Keep in mind, it started spreading at the beginning of 1918, which was when World War I was really like happening. This is also when America was moving on into the battlefields of Europe and all that other stuff. So there were a lot of people packed very tightly together in these trenches, and that's where it was majorly spreading. So at some points during the war, there were more German soldiers dying from in the Spanish flu than anywhere else. The reason why it was called the Spanish flu was because Spain, which was a neutral country at the time, was the first to really start reporting it to the international community, because a lot of the other countries that were seeing it spread were censoring that information because of the war effort. So
Oof.
it's not like the quote Kung flu, to quote the president there,
Mortal
in that
Kombat.
it did not it did not originate in Spain, but it was misattributed to Spain because they were the first ones to mention it. So the second lie I mentioned, for both pandemics, one of the hardest hit places was San Francisco. San Francisco has not really been hit hard.
San Francisco is not a city.
Well, it's more the county, because I checked
just
this
move
morning
on.
when I was, yes, the county, this as of today, as of this recording, has only 4,699 cases and 50 deaths out of this whole thing.
Wow.
Yes. considering that, that's only a few hundred less than the total cases reported in Arizona today. And almost half the deaths. So you could say San Francisco hasn't really been hit this, hard this time around.
Well, they paid their dues.
Yes.
See.
Yeah, they had a mayor that said, fuck this shit.
They had to deal with Zodiac. Come on. Cut him a break.
True that. But no, those were the two lies.
All right.
And the true lies.
All right,
The
Arnold.
true crimes.
It's just no con maker.
Man.
It's not a tumor.
Yeah, did you see that? Oh, God, all this cum. Oh,
I was going to say all this COVID.
No, did you see that currently they were saying that if everybody in the U.S. wore masks, like starting yesterday, that like at a minimum 8 weeks from now, we could start significantly curbing. Like,
oh yeah, like
I mean, 8 to 16 or 8 to 12 weeks, I think is what they'd said.
Yeah, and granted, we're not talking about the flu here. We're talking about something different. It lasts longer, it takes longer to incubate, and all that other fun stuff. But like, they only had the mask ordinance for a month for the first time around, and then only a couple weeks for the second, and it pretty much cut everything off. Yeah. So when I heard that, and when you said that again just now, I fully 100% believe it. That if everyone wore masks, or like not went out in public, and if you had to, masks, social distancing, all that fun stuff, yeah, I fully believe that would be done in 8
Hey,
weeks.
Michael, correlation don't equal causation.
He does have you there, you libtard.
Capital oof. Oh, funny story. So, very quick one. I've gotten my girlfriend's daughter
Pregnant.
to start saying
So that condom advice from earlier is taken from a real place. Be careful, kids. Wrap the rascal.
The man has a family, and I just killed him.
Stop the damn match, John.
20 feet down.
Stop the damn match.
All right.
Jesus Christ, now I gotta reset
That's
myself.
Helen herself.
She started. So you know how I say bruh a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yes. She has started saying capital bruh.
Wow.
She picked that up from me. So I'll just hear every so often she'll be like capital bruh, and then she'll face palm.
Ebony?
She'll what? Yeah, sure. Why the fuck not?
That's your Ebony.
Girlfriend's daughter's name is Ebony.
She sounds like a banker from San Francisco in the 19 teens. Capital bra.
Yeah, let me slap you with those silver dollars.
If you make one more train reference, Michael, so help me God, I'm gonna crawl through this mic.
Well, I mean, John was right. He ignored it. So
now you're calling all angels, essentially, is what you're telling me.
Welcome to my marriage.
You've made more train references than I have, because all I know is Save Me San Francisco and Drops of Jupiter, okay?
All right.
Those are the only two songs.
Shane
Oh, Hey Soul Sister, done. All right, cool.
Oh my God, that was one of their songs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what a credible release it was.
Is this the most derailed that we've ever gotten?
No.
No.
Not
by any
Not
long
even
shot.
close.
I will, let's go ahead and break our arms collectively here. I think we've been really good at being on topic in the past, 3 weeks.
We've attempted, yes.
I think we've actually made it an effort, before hitting record, being let's try not to go on any hate spiels.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not just go down let's not eat too many hate-filled burritos today.
Yes.
Well, I would say that we kind of did a little bit more of that this week
But they're
than we've
topical.
had in weeks past. Fair.
Usually,
yeah, you make a fair point there.
We didn't drive to a different restaurant to eat our Taco Bell.
Yes.
True. Very, very true.
Does anybody have anything else they want to shoot off before we go to the next segment here?
Birds aren't real.
Yeah, we covered that.
I'll take 2 of 3 for that. Well, you got to say it 3 times. I thought that was.
Oh, we've definitely touched on multiple, lies for birds. I have a glorious little picture that I'm going to share on our Instagram this week, because I shared it with John, and I think that he derived as much enjoyment from it as I did. And it involves a work by one of my favorite authors, who is Philip K. Dick. The
Yep.
book is entitled Maze of Death. And I'll share this with you, Michael, before I send the picture out, just so that, if we're going to derail for a mere moment here. There is a quick quote on the cover publicizing the book and heaping its praise. And this is even better, the context of the quote. Dick quietly produced serious fiction in a popular form, and there can be no greater praise. The quote is attributed to Michael Moorcock. So my running joke with Melissa once I sent this over to John, I was like, someone in the publishing company was just beating another human being about the head and shoulders. You couldn't have gotten anybody else, no one else to attribute a quote to. We've talked to 50 people this week, and nobody but Moorcock for a Philip K. Dick novel. The fuck is wrong with you? You're fired. Go work at Piss Drinkers.
Get out of my... Turn in your office and badge. Or your gun and badge. Ah, shit.
I'd like to turn in my office. I came
Done.
back to turn in my office.
Speaking of memes, before we read one big meme.
Now watch me whip.
And now watch me meme. There's one that I shared, and it's the caption is, "It's so badass when people stand in front of shit they destroyed." And there's one with Iron Man in the forefront, and the explosion in the back. There's one with John Wick, again with explosions in the back.
Like this is going.
There's one with the Joker with the hospital in the background, the infamous scene from The Dark Knight. And then there's Governor Ducey in front of the Arizona flag.
Can I also digress
that's a
for a mere moment here? And I want to point out,
that's why I opened up the floor.
As we were talking about Marvel movies, on the re-listen, there was something I should have called out with Michael in the moment, and I'm really upset at myself for not broaching it. Michael said that Marvel was not tackling serious issues with films like Iron Man. It specifically came out, you're like, when they did Iron Man, it was more like it was fun. It was kind of still a lighthearted movie.
Right,
I'm like, they dealt with
Middle
fucking
East,
terrorists taking him and holding him hostage in a cave. But that's lighthearted
that was a side
fare.
plot, though.
That was
That
the
was not
main
a side
plot of the
plot.
movie,
That's the
you
first-
ass.
Oh, you're right.
That's
Shit, dude.
It's
Dude. You're right.
It's like a 2-hour, 10-minute movie, and I think that is the first hour 10.
That was
him in the fucking cave.
It was the first time I got upset at myself. I was yelling at my phone where I was like, say something, Shane. What the fuck is wrong with you? Where you're oh, you're right. Yeah, it was serious.
Shit. I even was thinking that because I mentioned that, and the first thing I thought of was when he did the missile test on the mountain range.
And yeah,
like within the first 5 minutes of the movie, I'm
but
like,
he's talking about
yeah, but it only covers it very briefly, and it's not the plot of the movie.
Terrorism, demilitarization, and laid the groundwork for later on when you get to the Sokovia stuff, where you have the twins. The reason that they are actively fighting is because a Stark weapon was utilized in destroying. So they threaded really well, and I'm upset at myself for not having taken you to task in the moment. So this is me correcting.
I'm upset with myself for not even... That's what I get for not thinking through. That's why I always triple check my sources, and I tell future self to check my sources because I've made statements like that in the past.
But also, in looking back, I watched Blade this week, which
Fantastic.
I really enjoyed going back into. And
it holds up really well.
But also, if you put it up like back to back against, because Batman Forever was released in 97.
Wow.
So the next year you get Blade. You could not be more contrasted. And they still made Batman and Robin after Blade came out.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Oh, I was the last time that I saw Blade was, I'm gonna cry. It was at Alamo Drafthouse. Because they do those awesome, or did.
Good night, sweet prince.
Yeah, they did. Before you fucking COVIDiots ruined everything for everyone.
Thanks, COVIDiots.
Fun little movie parties like that. So me and Dewan and I,
thank you,
got to go watch Blade, and it was so much fun to see it on the big screen, and also to realize how well it held up. And also, my favorite quotes come from that movie.
Mm-hmm.
There is no more a badass climactic moment of Wesley Snipes to what's his fucking name? Deacon Frost is the character's name. but I don't remember the actor's name.
It's 5 seconds. Nope.
Just
Lost
being
it.
like some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill, and then just plowing them.
I specifically...
Whoa! I don't recall a sex scene in Blade.
Oof.
Oh.
I actually paused the movie and turned and gave like a rousing 20-minute speech to Melissa about how much I love Wesley Snipes for classing up bad dialogue. Because one of the greatest deliveries in the whole of human history takes place in Blade when the cops shoot at him in the hospital. And he pauses and turns around and he's like, "Motherfucker, you out your damn mind?"
Yes.
And also...
The actor's name is Steven
Thank
Dorff.
you. He was in True Detective Season 3. I just didn't want to waste the time. I was going to go Dorff, I remembered, but then it's like, okay, was it Brad or Steven? And yes, Steven. The joys of floating back to a callback that no one will get but John and I. So Dewan turned you on to Blade. Is that what happened, John?
Oh, fuck me. Yeah, he invented everything in the tangible universe, and he has copyrights and trademarks on anything relating to taste. So yes, anything that I've ever done is for and because of Dewan.
What's funny is he also turned Michael on to Train, so...
Just turn Michael on in general, which, I mean, can you blame him?
I mean, hey, soul sister.
Well, that's racist.
Yeah! Look at you!
Oh!
Look at you!
Oh.
Look at you!
That was an accidental swerve.
And you know what
there.
you can't do? You can't bleep it because then they're going to think you said something really bad.
Yep.
It was okay. Yeah, that was poor.
Firstly,
You're fucking
I'll
fucking
admit that.
canceled. I'm gonna call everybody right now and give them your phone number. You're fucked.
This is
I'm
over.
canceled.
This is over. Just so you know. So listen, Dewan's gender is his own business. It has nothing to do with any of us, and we love him, her, it's they. I love Dewan regardless, and that's important to clarify. So moving on.
And that's a Shane guarantee.
You missed them.
Yes.
Them is the like the.
Okay, so like we
that-
were saying,
Well,
the
shit.
royal
Drops
them.
of Jupiter in
I
my
have
hair.
a question for the room.
I'm not going to address anything that has to do with eating shit, John.
I asked all my coworkers, and they refused to answer this on Monday.
Oh, whether it's a fart or a burp.
They just looked at me very confused.
Yeah, wow.
Nice.
And I was like, a friend asked me this, and I just wanted to know your opinion. And I think one said no, and everyone else just looked at me confused.
I think that would make my entire life if I asked that question and someone just looked at me and was like, no. They just walked away. No, I was going to ask who in this room, or this Zoom chat, who amongst us are voice actors?
It's a Sigourney segue, kids. Ooga!
The answer, 1. That would be Shane.
Uno.
And
Shane has done voice work professionally, and the two of us that are left over, myself and Michael, have not done anything except for this podcast that hard relies on our vocals.
Can I just say for the record that 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do?
And that is why you have been bluntly beaten over the head.
Were you about to say bluntly fucked?
Probably.
Like,
Ooh-wee. So, because we learn as we go, the episode proper is basically at a close, and we are going now into our passion project that we have on the backside of every episode for the past 17 years, where we read a fan fiction that Michael, for some god-awful reason, is obsessed with and has transcribed into script form so that we can make the unofficial audiobook for it. And the fanfic is called My Immortal. It was written by... I'm not ever going...
Tallulah Bankhead.
hey, you remembered her!
Tara Gillespie.
Yeah.
And she's just brilliant. She went to Harvard, where she studied law. Might have just been bird law, but it was law. And she
also attended Juilliard, and she lived through the Black Plague, and she had a really great time doing that.
And if there is...
Speaking of which, did you see that there was a squirrel that tested positive for the Black Plague in Colorado a couple days ago?
Are you being racist again?
No. The bubonic plague, whatever.
Yeah, also, she's just a brilliant novelist and screenwriter, and how this never got adapted before is just a mystery to us all.
Agreed. But we're all just squirrels trying to bust a nut.
That's true. So we are at chapter 35 of this nonsense. Shane's going to do us a little recap, but the thing that I keep forgetting to mention before going in is that Michael has transcribed it verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that Shane has the majority of the lines here, because let's face it, if you're going to make it through, you need his voice. He's the anchor.
Agreed.
But he will over and under emphasize words based on the spelling and grammatical errors, which are
plentiful. Yes. There's a plethora.
Take Donald Trump's Twitter and take this fanfic, and this fanfic might almost have just as many errors in it.
Oh my goodness. New conspiracy theory. He wrote this while drunk.
That's giving him way too much credit because, again, not again, but again in the context of all of these 1,700 hours that we've been doing this, is this satire? Or is this just a very troubled, dim-witted woman?
Is this the real life, or is this just satire?
Oh, yeah, and also, I forgot to mention that I think
that.
Tara Gillespie has literally never been to a concert ever. Because of how many times she mentions that there's a concert, and it's always the same bands, and it's always at the same place. I don't think she understands how this works.
I also don't think that...
Maybe you just haven't been to an MCR Good Charlotte concert.
And you're in the midst of a 16-day fuckathon to MCR. Anything can happen.
So shall we?
Yes,
Yes, give me the recap,
complete.
Daddy.
I believe that brings us up to the glorious execution of previously on My Immortal. Chapter 32 sees Ebony's fledgling attempt to time travel through a pensive rather than utilizing a time turner, but let's not belabor clarity of thought here. Ebony flirts with Tom, aka Satan, my middle name, and a number of awful contextual incongruities occur. As given these events are detailed later as having transpired in the 80s, it seems Voldemort can both see into the future and instantly understand that Ebony hails from the future based on their dialogue. Seeing as Green Day was called Sweet Children until 1989, and Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids was also formed in 1989. I sincerely doubt that either of them were recognizable by name or doing fucking world tours in Hogsmeade. Jesus Christ, when they were garage bands at the time, but in any event.
You have to get your start somewhere, Shane.
I digress. This chapter establishes Dumbledore as an American Eagle fan, while Satan is, shocker, a goth hottie who's hip to everything that has ever happened. Ever. After an exceedingly brief conversation, the ground opens up and Ebony is transported back forward through time, having accomplished nothing. Ebony then arrives back in the classroom in contemporary Hogwarts, where we learn that Professor Sinister is suffering from an addiction to Voldemort serum, aka Veritas serum, aka Truth serum, what the flying fuck, to really hit home with readers through serious issues confronting society at large. Because there's any number of nickels I could squeeze to represent the number of times I've met someone who's been addicted to truth serum. It's really difficult.
I know.
It just plagues us all. Chapter 33 sees Professor Sinister, aka... No, I got too close with the AKAs on the last one, sorry. Chapter 33 sees Professor Sinister ask Ebony to seek help from Tom Anderson for a cure to addiction when she next returns through time, rather than seeking any addiction counseling or medical aid or any of the things that would actually help.
Right.
Draco, much to Michael's chagrin, was wearing T-shit Pananamas. And the pair aimlessly quarrel about whether Ebony did the dirty on Sweet Satan before they instantly make up and make out. Go fucking figure. Ebony inquires as to the fates of Snape and Lupin, as we all did, and Draco takes her to survey their punishment. I said Draco takes him, and maybe I was just slipping in and out of my brain here. Sirius is torturing and feeding on them, vampirically, and invites Draco and Ebony to follow suit. This is acceptable as both men are pedophiles, and of course that's the appropriate punishment for such activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Also, sadism is cool. Has anyone seen Shark Attack?
Indeed,
3?
yes. Draco and Ebony take some typo to go, since they didn't suck on him at that spot. And then engage in another random sexual incursion in Ebony's bedroom. I'm not going into details, but if you like Underworld, that suit seems really easy to get out of. This leads us to chapter 34, thankfully, the last chapter we covered last week, wherein Sirius awakens Ebony and invites her to accompany him to Professor Sinister's office. He delights in regaling her about his efforts in torturing the pedos as they walk, indicating Snape and Lupin have been sent to Azkaban and Draco and Vampire were excused from school for 1 day due to their shared trauma. When they reach Sinister's office, she's boozing it up with some truth juice. And waiting for them. They tart Ebony up for the hump hunting, and and she awakens in the Hall of Greats, circa 1980s, eating Count Chocula, sitting next to Satan, and observing a hot goth who turns out to be Professor Slutborn. Satan, to the greatest of all attempts at seduction, invites Ebony to see Marlon Mason at a screening of The Exorcist as a prolifically gothic date. And that is where we find our heroes in this week's edition of My Immortal, as performed by the Disinformed podcast cast.
So, well, go chapter whatever.
Chapter 35.
Do you, is this, I'm looking at who I am for this or chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, that exists.
Don't say
if
anything.
you don't
Don't
remember
spoil
it from the
that
episode, that exists.
I mentioned it in episode 25 when we did an overview of this.
So if you want the full plot synopsis of what happens to prep you for what's happened here, and you haven't heard episode 25, go back and give it a quick review. You won't be shocked by this.
Oh yeah. Hey guys, my name's John, and I'm supposed to be you while you listen to this episode, which is confused all the time.
And
he does a good job.
It's also
at it.
John's role to explain this for you listeners so that this is a little more easily digestible, and he's done a marvelous job thus far.
All right, so I'm going to level with you guys. I don't remember any of the voices, but that is why I give the disclaimer, because we're just going to make it up as we go along, and I only really committed to, 3 voices?
Mm-hmm.
I think you did a high-pitched, nose pinch for one of your characters.
It's just not in this chapter. So.
It's Satan.
Oh,
Satan is
no. He was Billy.
Well, yeah,
Corbin.
That's how you get the Corbin. Is you kind of gotta go like this.
No, not nasally, but high pitched. I don't fucking remember.
Sinister is Professor or
Dr. Mrs. My Girlfriend.
Dr. Mrs. My Girlfriend. And Draco is kind of like a
Arseface meets Billy Quizboy.
Exactly.
Hydrocephalic.
There, thank you.
We'll just make up this one.
So
he just remember it this time, because he is an important character for the next.
And also, I am making one up, I assume. All right.
Yes, because we have not met this guy before for obvious reasons.
Rock and roll.
Also, make sure when you start the chapter, you read the chapter title, because
I plan to. All right. So, further preamble aside, and our apologies.
Yes.
Chapter.
All apologies.
Fuck you, Michael. Chapter 35. Ghost of You. Otherwise known as Ghost of You, if you're a fucking literate human being.
Which is my favorite song from My Chemical Romance of all time.
It's not a bad one. I went into the conmen. Oh my god, this is gonna get bad already.
Start from 1.
Yep. I went into the conmen room thinking of Satan. Suddenly, I gasped. Draco was there. One. I grasped. He looked as hot as ever, wearing Blake ladder pants, a black Lonkin Prack t-shirt, and black eyeliner. Fuck my life. I'm
Draco.
sorry. That was just ghastly. We're going. I'm
You're
kicking
good.
it in. He looked as hot as ever, wearing Blake ladder pants, a Blake Lonkin Prack t-shirt, and Blake eyeliner.
Draco, what the fuck are you doing? 111.
I gasped.
Huh?
He asked. Then I remembered. It wasn't Draco. It was Lucan one. He still had 2 arms.
Oh, hi, Lucien. 1.
I said.
I'm Ebony, the new student, lol. We shook hands.
Yeah, Stan told me about you.
Lucian said. He pinted to a group of sexy gothic guys. They were sitting in a corner, cooting. It was Sirius, Vampire's dad, and Snap. All of them were wearing Blake eyeliner and Blake good Kraloty band shirts.
Listen, I'm in a goth band with those guys.
He said.
We're playing tonight at the Marilyn Mason show as backup.
Oh, really?
I asked.
Yeah.
He said.
We're called X Black Xter X. I play to gutter. Spartacus plays the drums.
He said, pointing to him.
It is X Black X Tear? It's
Tier.
black tier, but with X's in between everything?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I said, he said, pointing to him.
Snap plays the boss, and James plays the guitar to even foe we call him Samaro, after Samara in the ring. Shane has gotten out of his seat, and he has left the office.
Hey, bastards.
I told them they gave me Death's Touch Sin. Suddenly, I gasped again.
But you don't have a lead singer.
I asked. Lucian looked son, sadly.
We used to, but she did. She contempt suicide by silting her wrists.
Oh my fucking god. 1. That's so fucking sad. 1.
I gasped. It's okay, but we need a new lead snigger, Samaro said.
Wheel. I said I'm in a banad myself. Really?
Asked Snap. I couldn't believe it. He used to be gothic. 111.
Yeah, we're called Bloody Gothic Rose 666. Do you wanna hear me sing?
Yeah, said everyone. So the guys talk out their guitars. They began to play a song by Get It Caused by Guys So Sex at 1-1. Gurnday.
I walk this empt street on the boulevard of Borken Trems.
Scriptwriter's note. I kept in the lyrics because they were so poorly spelled that no one in their right mind would think it was copyright.
I sang sexily. I do not own dot lyrics to date song as a parenthetical. Everyone gasped.
Anobi,
will you join the band? Plus one. Begged Lucian, Samaro, Sirius, and Snap.
Okay.
I shrugged.
Are we going to play tonight?
Yeah, they said.
Okay.
I said, but I knew that I had to get a new outfit. I walked outside wondering how I could go forward in time. Suddenly, someone jumped in front of me. It was Morty McFly. One. He was wearing a Blake Banad t-shirt and black baggy jeans.
What the hell are you doing here? 1.
I asked.
I'll help you go forward in time, Anobi.
He said seriously then. He took out a Blake Tim machine. I went into it, and suddenly I was forward in Tim 111.
Fuck you, Michael. Fuck you, Michael. Fuck you, Michael. Fuck you, Michael.
You don't like Morty McFly? Oh, I spelled his name wrong in that.
Oh, no. Lest you
There we
misspell
go.
something in this fucking modern masterpiece.
Also, it's
Well, for the speaking
you know,
roles.
Marty McFly if you really want to, but you were being clever with
Oh
the Morty.
shit, you're right. I wrote Morty McFly. Well, because I was thinking of keeping the way his name was spelled,
Uh-huh.
kind of just to throw you off. But then I realized, like, nah.
So we've talked about this previously in the last episode and in other that the going back in time segments are supposed to take place in the 80s.
Yes.
We didn't say an exact time in the 80s, but now we have 1985 would have been Back to the Future.
Yeah.
So at least we have that, but now we've got, again, Green Day, that was not an actual band at the time, or was, but called another name. And naturally, just how many incongruent bits of nonsense do we have to endure?
Yeah. It is the thinnest thread of continuity that
It's
she's
like-
trying to weave.
Yeah, they're playing a song that Green Day released in, 2011?
Well, I think that's her ploy. Like, there's no way that they're going to know.
Right.
song.
No, it was 2001. It was part of American Idiot.
Well, I forget when that album came
Oh.
out.
It was an important album. When
Yeah, you're
Bush
an
was
important
president.
album. You
Shane
Bush.
and I cry your pardon that we don't recognize the masterpiece that is Billy Joel smacking heroin into his teeth.
I accept your pardon.
I also had to sit through that fucking musical, thank you. So I think of anybody here who should get a little more respect.
You didn't like the musical?
You didn't like it?
I'm gonna move on without any further comment,
All
Michael.
right, chapter 36.
Okay, I'm. Oh, good. I'm gonna have a
Lots of
interesting
rolls.
cavalcade of characters coming back here.
Same thing for John.
All right then.
Well, I remember two of them and one I don't, so
That's fine by me. Be creative.
I refuse.
Chapter Mother. Chapter 36. I looked around in a depressed way. Suddenly, I was Professor Sinister. Bloody Mary, Socrates, Draco. What the fuck is
That's supposed to
happening?
be Socrates?
Yes, Socrates,
No,
Socrates.
It's a Bill and Ted's reference, you
I
stupid
know.
shit. I was trying to be funny. All right. Starting from goddamn one. I looked around in a depressed way. Suddenly, I was Professor Sinister. Belody Mary, Socrates, and Draco, Vampire, and Willow were there too.
OMFG Sorius, I saw you and Samaro and Snip and everyone. 11111. I can't believe Snap Ooze to be Gothic. 111111.
Yeah, I know, Sirius said sadly.
Oh, hey there, bitch.
Professor.
Sorry. I love these cold reads. I hate them. I love them.
Yes.
Okay, and oh, hey there, bitch.
Professor Travolry said in an emo voice. Dear King, some Volksamortsarum,
Hi, Fooker.
I said.
Listen, Satan asked me out to a gothic cornet and a movie, so I need a sexta new outfit for the date. Also, I'm playing in a gothic band, so I need an outfit for that too.
Oh, my Satan! When? Get it, lols, cause she's gothic, parenthetical. Gasped Belody Mary. Want to go to Hot Topic and shop for an outfit?
OMFS, let's have a group cutting session. One.
Said Professor Trelawney.
I can't fucking wait for that, but we need to get some stuff first.
Said Willow.
Yeah, we need some portions for Professor Travolry so she won't be addicted to Velox Worth serum anymore. And also, Some love potion for Anabi.
Darko said resultantly.
Well, we have potions class now.
Willow said, so let's go. We went sexily to portions class, but Snap wasn't there. Instead, there was Cornelio Fuck. I will get you a clean one of that because I knew it was coming. Instead, there was Cornelio Fuck. 11111.
Hey, where the fuck is Dumbledore? 111.
Draco shouted angrily. STFU. 1. Shooted Cornelia Fuck. Is in Azkaban now with Snip and Lupin. He is old and weak. He has canker. Now do your work. 111. My friends and I talked angrily.
Can you believe Snap used to be Gothic? 1.
Vampire asked surprisedly. That's it! Cornelio Fuck shooted angrily. I'm getting Professor Bridge! 111. He stomped out angrily. Me friends and I began talking again. I began to drink some blood mixed with beer. Suddenly, I saw Hagrid in the cupboard.
WTF is he doing?
I asked. Then I looked at Draco. He was wearing tons of eyeliner and he looked sexier than Ava. Suddenly,
Hagrid, what the fuck are you doing? 1-1.
He shooted. I looked around. Hagrid was putting something in my glass of blood. 1-1. Darko and Vampire started to beat him up sexily.
God, you are such a post! 1.
I shooted at Hagrid. Suddenly, I looked at what he was putting in da blood. It was amnesia portion. 1-1-1.
Whew. Cornelio. Fuck.
Cornelio Fuck, yes.
Dibs on the porn name.
If only it could be Cornholio Fuck, then it would be much better.
So, for the sake of Shane's brain, and I say Shane's brain because I feel like I have a higher tolerance for stupidity, and I am ready to tap out with a shotgun blast to the face. This is the last chapter for the reading tonight.
Were we planning on doing another one?
37.
Yes.
This coming chapter.
I mean, beyond that, Michael, were you planning on doing that? Okay.
Just this
all
one.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Gird up your loins, children, and get Cornelio Fuck on the phone. Chapter 37.
Scriptwriter's note: from here on out, things start to get really, really weird and disjointed. I will try my absolute fucking best to get us through in one piece.
Darko's point of view, lol. Vampire and I changed Hagrid to the floor.
Oh, me fucking Satan! 1-1.
Inabi said. She was so hot.
Maybe I could ooze amnesia potion to make Satan fall in love with me faster. 1.
But you are so sexy and wonderful anyway, Tata.
Said Vampire.
Why would you need it?
To make everything go faster, lol.
Said Inabi.
But you won't have to do it with him or anything, will you?
I asked jealously.
OMFG, you guys are so scary. 1-1.
Said Brittany, a fucking crap.
Shut the fuck up. 1.
Said Willow.
Okay, well, anyways, let's go to Professor Chovley's room.
Scriptwriter's note: this is where the POV goes to Vampire before going back to Ebony, I think.
Draco, Abory, and I went to Siatia's room, but Professor Sinister wasn't there. Instead, Tom Ridd was. Oh, hi, fuckers, he said. Listen, I got you some new cool clothes.
Scriptwriter, I think we're back to Ebony now.
I took out the cloves from the bag. It was a Gothic Blake leather miniskirt that said 666 on the bake, black Stilton boots, blood red fishnets, and a Blake corset.
OMFG fangs!
I said, hugging him in a Gothic way. I took the clothes in the bag.
Okay, Professor Sinister isn't her. What the fuck should we do?
Asked Draco. Suddenly, he looked at a sign on the Blake wall.
Oh me fucking Satan! One.
I screamed as I read it. On it said everyone Professor Sinister is away. She is too Gothic. She is in Ascabian now. Classes shall be taught by Dubledork, who is Bake, but he shall not be principal for now. Sincerely, Professor Roombrige.
OMFG 111.
I shouted angrily.
How could they do that? 1-1.
Suddenly, Dumbledore came.
What the hell are you doing in my office? 1.
Read that how it's written, please.
What the hell are you dong in my office? 1.
He began to shoot angrily. Suddenly, I saw Morty McFly's Blake Tim machine. 111. I jumped seductively into it, leaving Draco and Vampire. Suddenly, I woos back in Tim. 1-1. I looked around. It was Professor Slutbones' face. I sneaked around. Suddenly, I saw the amnesia potion on his desk. It was Blake with blood red pantograms in it. It was the shape of a cross. I put it in my pocket. Suddenly, the door opened. It was Professor Slutgorn. 1-1. OMG, what are you doing, fucker? He shouted angrily. I don't know what the fuck are you doing, I shouted angrily.
Oh, sorry, I was just looking around, cause I thought it was class.
You said, finally hoping he couldn't see the potion in your pocket. Oh. Okay. You can go home now, said Professor Slutborn. Why am I saying go home? Fuck me. Oh. I'm actually going to do a Slugborn impersonation. Should I, just to pause here, I'm really out of my fucking mind right now.
This is
should I jump?
shit.
Should I jump back to the OMG? What are you doing, Fuker? He shooted angry, and read that in a way that was not just.
No, I love
No.
that. I thought
Okay.
that was really.
That's fine.
I thought that was really
That's
funny.
fine.
All right, sorry. I just wanted to,
Yes,
as an
yeah,
aside,
no, you're
I
good.
should mention for those that playing the home game not seeing this, there are just random passages that are not attributed and are not quotes. They're just random bits of nonsense thrown in here.
Mm-hmm. If there's no quotation mark, it is all narration.
Yes, so to further the incoherency of the narrative, define unreliable narrator. This one's it. So, all right, moving forward. You said, finally hoping he couldn't see da potion in your pocket. Oh, okay. You can go now, said Professor Slutborn, who is magically old again, even though this is supposed to be young Professor Slutborn. You went to the conmen room after putting on my clothes. Silas, Samaro, and Snap were there, practicing vampires will never hurt you by MCR.
Oh, hi, you guys.
I said seductively.
Where's Satan?
I'm trying to find a way to make Wilford Brimley young again. All right, we're just going Brimley.
Yeah, just do Brimley.
Oh, he's coming,
And it's spelled Cumming.
said Sirius. BTW, you can call me Hades now. Suddenly, Satan came. He was wearing a smexy black leather Jackson, Blake Congress shoes, a Slipknot t-shirt, and a Blake tie.
Okay, I will see you guys at the concert.
I said, and then I went with Satan.
So, Michael, I can't wait to get my first royalty check in the mail from you. Shane's is significantly bigger than mine, but I'm okay getting mine at a later date if you want to go ahead and pay Shane his professional voice actor's rate.
He said snarkily.
In order to get paid royalties, money has to be made first.
Oh, I just thought that you would advance him because
I was going to say technically not true.
Fair.
Oh my good God.
Yeah, this is getting more and more painful every single time.
That's why I said, as the scriptwriter, I will try and guide us as best as we can.
So here's what I'm thinking. If I'm gonna try to go back and throw this together, she says she goes into Professor Sinister's body, or that she was Professor Sinister at one point. Yes.
She's like bouncing around.
I think that was just her switching. I saw Professor Sinister.
Oh, okay, because I'm like, if she's saying she Freaky Friday'd Professor Sinister because she went back in Morty McFleer's, Tim machine, I can't. My brain, it's turned into Inner Space, which is a film from the 1980s that neither of one of you would have seen.
I have not seen.
It's fun.
Neither has Tata, the lesbian.
It essentially is they shrink down a sort of like the Explorer's vehicle and shrink it down and then inject it into a human body to try to help fight diseases.
Oh, like how most cartoon science-y shows do it nowadays.
I was gonna say
I think Rugrats did an episode.
They do a bit on that in Rick and Morty, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Futurama did it.
Derived from this film.
Okay.
So, and it's interesting. It's Martin Short is the star along with someone else whose brain I'm forgetting. Oh, and Meg Ryan is in it as well. It's Meg Ryan and her husband at the time, who I'm spacing on. But long story short, too bloody late. Not that it really matters, but all right. Then I can't make any sense of this heads nor tails when she's floating around, and why we're breaking into first-person narrative versus third-person narrative and just cluster. It's
and then
as though
second-person narrative for a time.
I don't know why we've just decided to brute fuck the audience reading this, and it must just be unabashed hatred for everybody who decided to go to this Tumblr page.
So I'm gonna posit this theory, and we're gonna cover this more next week when we encounter the troll chapter.
Oh, good,
because that will be next week.
Yes.
Oh, I was worried that we wouldn't get to see the troll.
Oh well.
Before you die, you see the troll.
My theory is that Tata, whoever the fuck,
Tartar,
the author, started getting bored writing this and started experimenting writing other things. Because after transcribing the troll chapter, I am of the theory, I'm thinking that she is also the troll. She was just writing it from a different perspective for shits and giggles.
Okay.
And then when she realized that this whole thing is just too boring, she doesn't want to do it anymore, she gives up. And that's why it ends unfinished.
Okay.
So how close are we to the finish line here?
Chapter 44 is the last chapter, but I will also note that... No. There's no chapter overlap because technically... there's no chapters omitted because... the troll chapter is written a bit funny, but I edited it for this scriptwriter thing.
So what you're saying is that we are nearly done?
I think we are gauging how much I have to write, probably another month out. There are fewer chapters, but as you can see looking at chapter 38,
they get
we
longer.
are only reading 2 chapters next week. So.
Okay.
Marvelous.
Well, at least you've shown me the light at the end of this fucking tunnel.
And it is a freight train.
Yes. Well, it's not really the light so much as the tunnel wasn't finished and you just run into the...
No. I mean, it is a train. So save me, San Francisco.
And...
were there drops of Jupiter on the tracks?
I'm gonna go ahead and I was just thinking about it. I'm so glad you brought it up, Shane. We've never really throw Michael bones. I think we should just let him name the episode "Save Me, San Francisco."
I actually like that.
I actually prefer Hey Soul Sister so that we can drill down to the racist roots of Michael's narrative.
We've
Oh my
covered
goodness,
a
can we
lot
not?
of ground on who Michael is as a person fundamentally today.
Oh man, I did one problematic line that was not problematic in itself.
Michael,
the context was what
I'm
was
gonna
problematic.
give you a hint that I learned, and it's gonna keep you in better company over the course of your life, particularly where John and I are concerned. Sam has still not learned this, so if you make it to episode 49,
She won't.
She's dead already.
God, I hope so. I won't even hesitate. If you make it this far, don't sell the rib, which means if someone plays a joke on you or they make a joke at your expense, the more that you are bothered by it visibly, the more we smell blood in the water, and we will continue to pounce on it, which I know you are doing for the sake of making things fun for the listeners.
Yes, of
but
course.
also it's one of the reasons why we will just continue to blister you to death and have people at me on the internet saying I need to be nicer to you because you try. So this is the persona you have adopted for the sake of people's entertainment, and I'm not sure that you really want to keep carrying the world on your shoulders, Atlas.
Oh no! I might even try and cut this part, but no, I like this character. It's quite fun.
Okay,
It
well,
makes it more
you
interesting.
simpering idiot.
No, I do this totally just on accident. I mean, I sometimes just get offended.
You do
when people
tonally
misinterpret me.
Tonally on accident, you do.
Oh, Michael. Michael.
Mickle.
Kevin.
Macal.
Well, I feel like we done
The dirty.
banged this dog as hard as you could.
Ugh.
Arf arf.
It's a living.
Well, you're doing it doggy style, so that's as good as we're gonna get. The D-O-double-G.
Oh boy.
This
howdy.
this will be a really nice moving in present for you, Michael. I think it's the longest that we've recorded in a minute.
Well, I should say,
Not too much.
Michael has now stepped back. He's uncocked his shit. He's heartbroke, but he's still Loke.
And I'm Michael. That also went over my head, but I am
Snitches ain't shit.
Yes.
All right.
That is a great movie.
Sneeches
yes, I
ain't
do
shit
like it.
as well, if we're gonna keep this in the My Immortal track. So,
Ooh.
wrapping this up, as per usual, like a spinach wrap of absolute despair, that brings us to a conclusion of another zesty episode of the Disinformed podcast. We appreciate you all being here. So as per usual, please keep coming back. It works if we work it, and we are worth it. Please follow us on all the socials. If you want to find them, you can find them. I empower you. If you do a quick Google search, I guarantee they're there. And if you want me to say them at some point, I may be able to be enticed back into doing so if we reach 5,000 followers on all of our platforms.
So stunning.
So smash
So
that
brave.
like button.
Yes.
Ring that bell. Subscribe. Yeah.
Yes. And if you dig what we do, rate and review.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Haven't busted out that cherry in a minute. So, for the Aberforth Disinformed podcast,
Good reference.
I am Shane.
I'm John.
And I'm Michael.
Thank you. Oh, you mother whore. It's not a living. He wants it to be a living, and he'll never make one, as he's proven by the good people at the
Ask you. Bless me.
Well, indeed. It's that you're allergic to bullshit.
You don't even know how to sneeze, man. It's supposed to be achoo.
I'm at you. Thank you for coming, kids. Don't worry. We'll clean it up.